Hey guys, it's Dr. Steve back with another episode of Core Wellness TV, and I'm so excited today to be on trail number 1 in Charlestown Park, and it is lush and green and everything is just exploding. It's springtime here in Indiana. I know the opposite end of the world, it's a little different, but hey, right now this is where we are, and it just breaks my heart to know that people cannot get out in this environment because of what? Allergies. And this doesn't have to be the case. You can get over allergies if you just think of these 3 things I'm going to talk to you about: the mindset piece, the movement piece, and the nutrition piece. Okay, for as far as the mindset piece goes, you know, your immune system reflects your thought system. Psychoneuroimmunology. Look that up. Psychoneuroimmunology. That means your thoughts that affect your brain also represent the state of your immune system. This is why you can go under relaxation processes and meditation processes and literally calm your immune system down, balance your immune system. Okay? So that's number 1, is you have to get out of the monkey mind and you have to get into the present moment, get out in nature, get your hand on a rock, right? Feel that energy of the earth, ground yourself, and that automatically takes those stress chemicals down. Meditate, mindfulness, all that kind of stuff. Get into that and make it a practice, okay? And that's all I'll say about that, because that's something you just have to get into, make the commitment to do, that I will spend time in nature every day and disconnect from everything else, okay? So that's the short version of the mental emotional piece. The mindset, or excuse me, the movement piece. Now, how does the way you move affect your immune system? Well, let's observe that for a minute, okay? How does posture affect your immune system? Sorry, there's 2 huge birds flying overhead. There's vultures. Maybe I'm not moving quick enough. How does posture affect your immune system? Well, let's look at it. There's a lot of different ways, but I'll give you a couple, right? Anytime if you walk or you move with an unbalanced or inefficient movement pattern, let's say you have a forward tilted pelvis and you do a lot of walking and you jam your low back joints together a lot, okay? These joints, when they're not in their perfectly balanced, centrated state, and if they're not stacked on them, you know, if they're not perfectly aligned to transmit force with maximum efficiency, if they're off just a little bit and you're bearing too much weight, you're at end range, maybe back on the facet joints in your low back, and you're like this all the time, and those facet joints are just banging together. This sends a message. It's called nociception. We'll call it pain messages, but it's really not pain until you create pain in your brain. So we will call it what it is. It's nociception. Nociception. Guess what nociception does? Nociception stimulates the sympathetic nervous system, the fight or flight system. So it's sending a message of stress to your brain. Okay? So you don't have to think a thought to cause the stress, like psychoneuroimmunology. This is body-induced, joint position-induced stress that goes to your brain. Your brain says there's stress, there's fight or flight. I'm going to turn on the sympathetic nervous system, and the sympathetic nervous system causes the immune system to go on pause. Doesn't do what it's not pause, but it doesn't do what it's supposed to do. It's imbalanced. Okay? The other thing that can cause this issue is if you are a chest breathing pattern, like this. Okay? I see a lot of people come in, especially people with head and neck pain and arm pain and numbness in their hands and fingers. They have a lot of upper chest breathing patterns, a stress breathing pattern. Okay? What this does is that, again, if you're breathing like this, your brain thinks, wow, we must be running from something, or something must be really wrong here, so let's turn on the sympathetic nervous system and let's mess up the immune system. Okay? So that's the component of the physical to the immune system. And lastly, and certainly not least in this situation, where most people get most bang for their buck, is by changing their nutrition. Now, what's the biggest thing with nutrition? Number 1 is if you are eating foods that are constantly irritating your gut. Say you're sensitive to gluten, or you're sensitive to dairy, or you're sensitive to corn or soy, or whatever, all right? If you know your food sensitivities, and if you don't know, well, if you're eating something unknowingly that's irritating and causing your immune system to be on high alert all the time, overactive, it's too active, right? If it's too active, then, so if it's already overactive, and then, so the bucket is full, right? Imagine a bucket of stress filling up, right? You've got some improper movement patterns, you've got some breathing issues, you've got stressful thoughts, and you've got a gut that's irritated, right? And the gut, when it's irritated, the gut is also your immune system. If you have an irritated gut is an irritated and overactive immune system. Now, whenever a little pollen comes in, the water spills over the top and you get symptoms. Okay, so the first thing that I always recommend if you have chronic allergies or seasonal allergies is get rid of all possible immune irritating substances in the diet, and the biggest two are gluten and dairy, guys. You probably heard this before, but it's well worth it, right? Especially during this time of year, to get those off the plate and take that load out of your immune system. Okay, so that's the big thing. Get rid of the sensitivities. Next thing, and then while you're doing that, it's a good time to replenish some good probiotics back into your gut, especially if you've had lots of antibiotics in your lifetime. Replenish some good bacteria back into your gut, right? So you're clearing out the irritation and you're bringing in some good guys, right? These probiotics in your gut are your natural immune system. Okay, so you might as well get the good guys in there so they can do their thing for you. They also, these bacteria can also help increase the Th1 response. This is getting a little bit too deep, but Th1 versus Th2. We have too much Th2, not enough Th1, and the bacteria help boost up the Th1, so you bring that balance back. And if you look up Th1 and Th2 balance, you'll see a lot of information about that, but I'm not going to get into that. Okay, so that's the gut. Get rid of the foods. Right. The next thing is looking for, as nutrition goes, is getting rid or balancing the omega-6 to omega-3 ratio. Maybe you've heard this before too. Grains are omega-6, very inflammatory. What is an allergy? It is an inflammation process. Inflammation process. So if your cells are very inflamed because that's all you eat is omega-6 fatty acids from grain or things that eat grain, omega-6, and not enough green, right? And things that eat green, like if you're going to have animal products, make sure it's pasture raised, that these animals have only ate green food their whole life. Okay? So getting that balance, because the omega-6s over here, the inflammatory guys, whenever your immune system goes into hyperdrive because something's irritated it, whenever the cells break open, if they're full of this omega-6, your immune response, your allergic response is going to be much, much greater. So that's where I do recommend supplementing with fish oil. Okay? Bring the omega-3 up, omega-6 down. Enough said about that. Okay? The other thing is, I mentioned about the cells breaking open, right? Nothing happens in an allergic response until a mast cell breaks open. Literally, the cell membrane has to break open, and it's called degranulation. And if we can keep these cells from breaking open so easily, then we can stop the immune response stop the allergic response before it ever starts. And how do we do this? Bioflavonoids, vitamin C. This is the framework of the cell membrane. Right? We have to build a good skeletal framework and get the oxidation reduction, the redox potential it's called. You get that right, and then you have a solid cell that doesn't break open as easily. So if you have a cell that doesn't break open as easily, and if it does happen to break open, it's got enough omega-3 in it to have a small response, but not a overwhelming response that keeps you home and with a mask on your face. Right? So, those are some very simple things to focus on. And what are those things? I said bioflavonoids. I said these are colorful foods, right? This is green food. This is eating or having green smoothies every day. This is focusing on dark blueberries and raspberries, all the berries, anything dark, really dark. The white parts of citrus. Lemon, the white parts of lemons and citrus, all this kind of stuff. The white stuff in there is gold. Okay, onions full of quercetin, garlic full of quercetin. These are all bioflavonoids that keep your cell membrane strong, less likely to burst and cause that immune response down the hill. All right, so that's kind of a quick summary of some basic things to work on. I do have an official allergy cheat sheet that I've got for you. If you're on YouTube watching this, make sure you go to the blog post. I'll have a link where you can get a hold of that. All right, it's just a one-pager that's got the basic core wellness recommendations that I recommend for everyone. You know, what 3 supplements I recommend for everyone, along with some diet guides that go along with it, and the allergy protocol, which is the foundation, plus a few other, like I talked about, the bioflavonoids, the probiotics, and also I use something called perilla seed extract, which is very powerful, and I use that kind of like, instead of using a Claritin or Zyrtec or something like that, that's what I help get people to use if they're in trouble, or if they're already in the middle of allergy season and they haven't done all these things to kind of build up their buffer against it. That's what we use for them in that case. So it works really nicely, and it works on a lot of different pathways. It works on the inflammation pathway. It helps balance the Th1, Th2 I was talking about. It helps, what else? It decreases the amount of immunoglobulin E that's released. So anyway, there's a lot of things about that perilla seed extract, and the paramine is the product I use for Metagenics on that. And all of those products will be on that cheat sheet, so you can get a hold of that. And that's it for today, guys. If you want that cheat sheet, just check out the blog post where this is located on the blog at Get to Your Core. And I will see you next time. Until then, please, keep moving, keep breathing, get outside, get your feet on the ground, touch some nature, be happy. Right? It helps so much to be happy. When you're happy, you're healthy. Okay? So take these things to heart, and if you have any questions or comments, please post them below on the blog at Get to Your Core. All right, we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.